Most Germanic pagan cultures practiced cremation, sometimes burning boats with the dead. Sutton Hoo was an isolated exception in England, and most non-isolated cases of non-cremated boat burial in the Vendel era occur in the Mälaren Valley in Sweden. There are 19 boats from 9 different sites in Sweden, and 4 of these sites are in Uppland. 5 boat graves have been found here at Valsgärde, 3 of which are dated to the Vendel period, the 6th to 8th centuries. Right now I'm standing on Valsgärde burial mounds. This is a burial ground. It was used for, presumably by a family who lived in this area. About 3 kilometers north of the Great Royal Barrows at Uppsala. This is often associated with the culture down there at Uppsala, but it's very different. The people who were buried here weren't kings. We know about them. Everyone's seen the Valsgärde helmets and the grave goods. Very interesting Vendel period artifacts have been found here. Like the Vendel helmets, which Vendel's about 20 miles north of here. These helmets are not of the same quality as the one that was found in England at Sutton Hoo. This is something much more local, much more less royal. It's not as ostentatious, but then again, considering that these perhaps just the sort of leader of some peasant farmers, there's a lot to consider about the fact that these boat burials here. And throughout the Viking Age, you have lots of boat burials. You know, they've got the great Useberg Viking ship burial, which is very famous, and that was a woman buried in it. And there's all kinds of, you know about different kinds of burning ships, and you know, like in Beowulf, it describes the ship sent out to you in the Viking fashion that you see in many cinematic depictions. But during the Vendel period, a specific type of burial occurred, and it was almost only here in Uppland, but also it's at Sutton Hoo. And there's also, more recently, they found at Salma in Estonia a similar form of inhumation, which is the burial of the boat and the dead without burning. So in the case of Sutton Hoo, they didn't actually find a body. That doesn't mean there wasn't a body in it, but the boat was buried with all kinds of grave goods that weren't burnt. The boat burials in Uppland and the contents of the graves have led to many comparisons with Sutton Hoo. Such a specific burial custom indicates a shared religious tradition, and the presence of similar religious imagery, such as the horned spear dancer motif on the pressblechs of the helmet, compounds this theory. It's very interesting, this boat inhumation custom, and it's not quite clear why this happened, because although boat burial or something relating to boats is much, much older. I mean, this is hundreds of years before Viking time, but even before, you can go back to prehistoric, you know, Neolithic almost times in Scandinavia. You've got ships depicted with stones, like stones laid out in the form of a ship, and they're within a burial ground beneath. But those are found much further inland, such as the one that's Ernens Hog. But this one here, like the one at Sutton Hoo and one at Vendel and many others, they were near to a watercourse. And I presume that has some reason to do with why there was a boat, because this is a culture for whom travel over water was very important. Right over there is the Furus River, really close, and that was probably what linked this small farming community to the wider world. Since the 60s, people like Bruce Mitford have been looking at the finds from here in Valsgärde and those in Vendel, and comparing them to the finds they found at Sutton Hoo, and saying that there must have been some kind of link, because the material culture is so similar. There's something, you know, you've got the horned spear dancing motifs on the pressblechs of the helmet, and why was it that this specific type of burial of boats, instead of You know, I mean, we presume that they weren't burning boats at the time, but we have no way of knowing for how long the ritual of setting the dead in a boat, setting it out into the water, and then firing an arrow of fire and burning it, because there's no remains of those, of course. So perhaps those were done as well, but we know that generation after generation after generation were burying their dead here in Valsgärde, and also in Tuna, in Badelunde, and also up at Vendel, and there's other sites like this during the Vendel period. And it's very interesting. But the boat that was found here is very different from the one in Sutton Hoo. The boats from Vendel and Valsgärde they're not really seagoing ships. They're not probably ships that you would go from here to Denmark with. They're more probably ships for moving around the rivers and lakes of Uppland. One thing's clear, this was a very important site for many, many generations here. A very holy site. And this tree is now growing in the centre of the barrow of the main mound. It's quite a peaceful place.